Hello! For those who don't know me, I'm Rob Hoult from Hoults Wine Merchants, and very luckily for me, I supply the wines for Woodsome Golf Club. And this year, last year was a bit weird, this year we've made some changes to what was last year's list, and Rick has asked me to present those changes to you in the form of a video, which is something I've never done before, and I'm not entirely sure I'm looking forward to. But here goes. So, first change on the list is actually one of the most popular wines on there, the Cloud Factory Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Nothing wrong with that wine, but if we can do better, let's do better. This wine is better. Vidal Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, Marlborough, and the big thing here, this is estate produced and bottled. So you've got everything going on over in New Zealand. It comes to the UK in a bottle, not in a tank, and UK bottled, and it makes a big difference. You just see a little bit more of that gooseberry, that grapefruit, that lychee, a little bit more character. That acidity is absolutely fantastic. This is the sort of wine that made New Zealand famous back in the early 90s. Seems a long time ago. Second wine, and we stay with Sauvignon Blanc, but this time we go to France, Puy-Fumé, and it's just, again, me tasting wine. I do an awful lot of drinking, and finding wine and thinking, that's a better drop, let's do that. So this one is Joseph Melot, Puy-Fumé. So we're in the Loire Valley. Melot have got 500 years of history. In fact, one of the Melots was a sommelier, essentially, to King Louis XIV. So it's a fair bit of history, a fair bit of pedigree. This, as opposed to the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, this is about elegance. It's more herbaceous, it's a little bit leaner, but that palate then is more complex. It's a bit broader. There's a lovely centre of fruit to it. Absolutely fantastic. I first tasted this canoeing down the Loire because it's a tough job. The third wine, I haven't got any. I've sold it all. But it's coming in soon, and if I don't get this video done today, I probably never will get it done because it's terrifying the life out of me. But the third wine we're changing is the Malbec. So the Pablo Walter Malbec on the list. Lovely fruit forward style, slightly bonkers label. But the new one, Los Olivos from Zaccardi, is big and it's bold and it's more classic Malbec. I'm absolutely in love with it. I discovered it about 3 weeks ago and it's blooming gorgeous. That with a, I don't know, nice big rib of beef or even a pork pie just sat outside. Absolutely fantastic. And then the last change, by the way, I do speak far too quick, my apologies. But the last change is the Creux Hermitage and a more unusual reason for a change. So the wine that's been on the list, the Cave, can't remember the Cave now, but the Creux Hermitage there, they've decided to make a change the way they do things and they're not adding any sulfites to that Creux Hermitage. Now, sulfites are a bit of a topic these days and people worry about them. The main thing to remember, there's far more sulfites in a bacon sandwich than ever be in a bottle of wine. So don't worry about those. But if you don't put sulfites in, they're a stabilising agent. They make sure that when you open that bottle of wine, it sort of tastes like it's supposed to do. And if you don't put them in, it can end up smelling a bit funky. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather my wine didn't smell of fart. So sorry for being blunt. This one, Le Maisonnier from Chapoutier. So Chapoutier are one of the big names in the Rhone. Again, plenty of history. And there's a wonderful thing where all the labels are in Braille, which is a nice thing. A throwback to the gentleman who first came up with the abbreviated version of Braille. He was a denizen of the Northern Rhone, so they've named it after, they've done that in homage to him. But it's classic Creux Hermitage. It's that lovely 100% Syrah, leathery perfume. It's deep and it's rich and it's complex. And just a wonderful thing. Venison. Venison's the thing to go with that. Right. A fairly rapid way of doing it, but it still took nearly 4 minutes. So I hope you enjoy those. If you've ever got any questions, feel free to phone me down at the shop or ask Rick, and Rick will ask me, and that's it. Thank you very much. Toodaloo.